Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. It's so nice to have you on the couch with me, so it's not just me having to stare back at myself.
Jump scare. Sorry, everybody.
A jump scare.
Well, thank you for inviting me to the couch.
Of course.
This is a very special episode of the pod. Are you excited?
I'm excited because we have such opposing views about what we're going to talk about.
It's true.
And
it's true.
I wouldn't consider myself a hater for this subject specifically. I dabble.
In being a hater?
No. Well, yes, but not towards this individual.
Right. Okay. So you're not a hater when it comes to this person, to this artist.
Correct. Yeah.
I guess we might as well get it out of the way.
Yeah. Well, first, how are you? What's going on in your life? Tell us, give us a little rundown.
I'm good. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here on the couch with you for the first time ever. First time ever, everyone. That's crazy, isn't it?
I know, you were so worried about being on the couch because you're like, I don't feel like I look good. And look at how good he looks.
Thank you, I guess. Thank you. So you're probably wondering, like, what's with the getup? Right?
He's a pirate, obviously.
I'm a pirate. No.
Arr.
I'm blind in this eye, so I wear the patch as a way of letting like other people know when I'm out in crowded spaces, or if I go to a bar or if I go to a party or something, it lets other people know that I can't see them. So if I bump into them, or like, the fridge jumps out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because that happens a lot to me.
Who put that there?
Right? How dare they? It's mostly to let other people know that I can't see them, to hopefully like prevent any sort of misunderstanding or like an accident or something. And I've just grown accustomed to it.
It looks so fucking badass as well.
Thank you.
It's so good. I love it so much as an aesthetic. I'm sorry that you had to become blind in order to use it. But honestly,
you lose them.
It works for you.
It does work for me. But that's a story for another time. I would be willing to share it if people are interested. It's not necessarily the happiest story in the world, but it was like a really good learning experience. And I'd love to be able to share some of what I learned along the way. But that's not why we're here today. Today, we are broaching the topic. We are going to discuss our thoughts and feelings on Katy Perry's newest release, 143.
And I think this is great personally because I give you all of the elder emo nonsense. So it's great to have you as the pop diva here.
This badass pirate.
Duality.
Pirate pop diva right here. That's me. Oh my gosh. No, I'm excited. I've been a fan of Katy Perry since the beginning. I'm talking like You're So Gay and I Kissed a Girl. I had an I Kissed a Girl ringtone.
Did you buy it?
Oh, I bought it.
It was like 99 cents or something?
It was like $1.29 because we're in Canada. So you know.
Correct.
And I distinctly remember my parents like sitting me down a couple days after I got it.
And Did you use their credit card?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I paid for it at like a credit or something. But I distinctly remember them sitting me down and being like, so we don't care that you like Katy Perry. Like that's fine. But the ringtone is really fucking annoying. And so they made me change it.
And you probably had it for like text. Do you ever for text as well as phone calls?
Oh, yes, girl. Like, every message. Every fucking message.
Just the T9 message. Do you remember T9?
The first version of autocorrect. Before any sort of AI nonsense. T9 was the first version of autocorrect or autocomplete.
Oh.
So it would try to guess what you were saying so you didn't have to press all the buttons. Yeah.
Look at that.
Kids these days don't fucking know.
They don't. You don't know the struggles.
I literally sent you a message this morning and had my phone rewrite it for me. Wow. Like fully rewrite it.
I'm glad that the iPhone brought in the editing text feature because the amount of times I'm one of those people that will not text in paragraphs like I should. I text the way that I would like speak. So It's line by line. And if I have something very passionate to say, girl, I'm texting and I'm sending. And I'm hoping that autocorrect will help me along the way. But girl, she has left me in the dust so many times. But being able to go in now and edit
Being
helps
able
me
to
a lot.
edit a message after you send it is really nice, especially if you like, you can also unsend a message, which is really nice.
But only after a certain amount of time.
Only within the first like 10 minutes or something like
Yeah.
that. But honestly, I sent thumbnails for our last episode YouTube video to a different friend completely without context. Just a whole bunch of thumbnails and then was like, oops, unsend. Sorry about that.
Sorry, oops. And then you always get the so-and-so unsent a message and you're like,
What did you
fucking
say?
What
How
did you
rude.
fucking say that you unsent it to me? And then it's never anything scandalous. It's just like, no, I messed up.
I butt dialed you. I accidentally spelled okay wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. But anyways, we're here to discuss 143 by Katy Perry, the newest release. Like I said, I've always been a big Katy Perry fan. One could say before stan culture was a thing, I was involved.
That doesn't surprise me about you.
Yeah, but I've never seen her in concert, so I can't say I'm like the biggest ultra fan. I would certainly never pay VIP ticket prices to go see a meet and greet or something like that. She's an iconic pop star to me, but she's not like someone, I don't know. I don't really develop those parasocial relationships with musical artists.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like you met Lights and she seems like you guys could be friends. So like that's a little valid.
Yeah. I mean, I have some parasocial relationships where it's like I almost don't want to meet them because if their real personality doesn't match to what I have made up in my head, then I could just never listen to them again, you know? Like, don't meet your heroes kind of thing.
Don't meet your heroes, definitely.
But Lights is an exception to that rule, just so that everyone knows.
Yeah, she was really sweet.
Yeah, this is a Light Stan podcast. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Continuing. So I just want to preface this episode fully to say that we are commenting and critiquing a piece of artwork that has been distributed to the public and is widely available. Everybody's entitled to their own personal opinions, and nothing we say should be taken too seriously. We are not formal music critics. We are simply consumers just like you.
Listen, we just have some thoughts and feelings, and we thought we'd share them, okay?
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings.
I do as well. The question is, do you go first or do I go first?
Well, I've written something out.
Okay.
So I'm
going
to go first.
Notes.
So first of all, and this will be back and forth between us throughout this process. So
I would hope so.
I want to know what your like initial thoughts, like initially first listen through. Did you listen like front to back? Okay.
I did.
So did I. It's only 11 songs, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Just general like high level stuff. And immediately I asked myself, who is the audience for this album? And I think this is something that like the zeitgeist online has kind of lost the narrative on a little bit, because it's my personal opinion that this album was designed to be for millennials. It's supposed to be a callback to the recession pop that we went through, and it's supposed to be that like feel-good escapist kind of energy. Do I feel that it achieves that always? No.
No. And I'm going to chime in here with a haven't you people ever heard of? Coming from Brat Summer.
Oh my gosh, yeah, okay.
Like, not to compare because they are different in their own things, but in the genre of pop, if we're going to compare in the same genre. So, coming off of Brat Summer, hearing this, it's so lackluster. Even Chapel Roan, like listening to Hot to Go, there's so much personality in there. There's so many different little bits in the way that she decides to sing or delivers the line or the lyric. It just had so much more substance to me. And listening to Katy Perry's felt like lazy. Like, just to put in a word, lazy. It just, and
do you mean sonically or lyrically or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
The only one that I didn't mind lyrically was Wonder.
Right.
That was the only one where I felt she kind of started it off in a way and then changed it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, this should have been maybe the first song, in my opinion.
It felt like it was written and inspired by something very real.
Yeah. Agreed.
Other tracks on the album, not so much.
Like, don't get me wrong. I loved Dark Horse. Who was the rap artist on that one? Was it Juicy?
Juicy J.
Juicy J. Okay. Loved Juicy J on that track. Sorry, we keep bringing Thorgy back.
We're gonna go song by song. So let's,
Okay.
So I want to start off obviously with the opener. It's Woman's World, right? Now there's been an awful lot of discourse online, both from traditional media sources as well as just online in the zeitgeist. Is that the word to use, zeitgeist?
Yeah, you use that
Thank you.
correctly. You're welcome.
But it's one of those things where I have a conspiracy theory about this song.
I'm here for it because I only have negative things to say about this song.
So this song is, if you're not familiar, it's supposed to be a woman empowerment anthem. It certainly sonically is able to do that in the anthem-esque kind of vibes, right? However, the big controversy, which I think we would be remiss not to mention, the fact that Katy decided to work with Dr. Luke for this production. So that's obviously a controversy. We stand with Kesha, absolutely. 100%.
And Joyride was so fun.
So fun.
Again, not to compare, but comparing, Joyride, the song, was better than this entire album. Sonically, and
it was certainly more interesting.
Yeah.
But that aside, I think it's important to acknowledge that that's a thing. And I personally feel icky about it.
Super icky.
Katy's appeared in a few interviews. She went on a few podcasts, things like that. And she's been directly asked by interviewers, like, why, given the woman empowerment anthem, did you decide to work with Dr. Luke? And unfortunately, she's kind of skirted the question each time. She doesn't really answer with like a full correct answer to the question. She kind of dodges it a little bit. But I think, and a lot of people are very upset about that. Like, you're asking her directly and then she dodges around it. It looks bad, right?
Yeah.
But I think a perspective that I'm sure many people have thought of, but I didn't really see when I was out doing my research. Katy probably cannot say anything involving that case, about his character, about what did or did not happen, and about her thoughts on it, without facing legal ramifications from either her label or from Dr. Luke himself. I feel icky about it and I don't like it, but I also understand why maybe she's not been so outspoken about it as a choice. Is that me being too nice?
Yes. I appreciate
that. I'm
that.
not being a sympathizer, for the record. I'm not being a sympathizer of abusers.
You're being objective of this. And
yes.
I can understand that. And you kind of have to put yourself in that position. And like, it seems easy to say, oh, well, if that was me, I wouldn't do it. But I feel like in this scenario, you could do that because she subjectively was the monarch of pop for our upbringing, at least.
Yeah.
Teenage Dream, like she
Teenage
bangers
Dream,
after bangers
Firework.
after bangers, Roar, everything, Peacock. So she has the power to say, no, thank you, sir, and then make a stand. I think what's so annoying to me is the fact that she wanted Woman's World to be this powerful woman anthem, yet feels like she's sympathizing with abusers. How can you have both?
Well, here's my conspiracy.
I'm ready.
You ready for this? You ready? So, my conspiracy theory is Woman's World was written and designed to be used for Kamala Harris's campaign. That's my conspiracy theory. Kamala probably didn't know about this, but they're sitting down, starting a new album. There's a woman running for president. She would be the first woman president in history. She's going to be doing all of these public appearances where they play intro music and stuff like that.
And they couldn't have made a better fucking song?
They could have, but this is my conspiracy, is that before Brat popped off and like Kamala's team jumped on that, I could totally have seen a Katy Perry power anthem, women empowerment song being used in that kind of a context.
I guess too, but like she already has Roar. Like Roar is one of those things, like it's to some people it's a little cheesy, but you know what? If you're in that mood to be like, okay, you know what? No, I gotta snap out of it. Like I've thrown on Roar. I am not ashamed to admit that I've thrown on Roar when I've felt that way.
It's a bop.
It's a bop and it's inspiring. Firework is a little bit of a different story because I can't get over the line, do you ever feel like a plastic bag going through the wind?
Drifting through the wind, girl.
And it's
And
funny
you
because
know what? I do. I have.
personally, but every time I see a plastic bag floating through the wind, I'm like, baby, you're a firework.
Yeah. It's changed my perspective on litter.
Yeah,
Just seeing litter.
exactly.
Like, you go.
Girl, you go. You drift in the wind, baby.
Oh my God.
I forget the tangent that I was going on.
We were talking about Woman's World.
Oh, God. Yeah, there was already that there. Like, if you're gonna take a formula of making a song, which I feel like this album was a
Very formulaic.
formulated thing. Like, you could predict everything. I just feel like she could have done so much better. She has the resources. She has the power. She's a good enough writer. Like, she's done it in the past. This was just, like, it felt like such a slap in the face. It felt like in the Barbie movie, you know, when Will Ferrell and all the execs are trying to, like, come up with ideas for new Barbies and, like, the new, I don't know, like, they're trying to cater to the women, and this feels like that anthem for that. Like,
yes.
It's just like it's trying to hit the mark, but it's just so fake and phony feeling that you're like, huh?
Well, see, I have differing opinions about the song versus the video, as an example. So when the song first came out, if I could, like, suspend my disbelief about Dr. Luke for, like, 2.7 seconds, I was like, okay. Little fun, little summary bop, little empowerment. Okay, it's simplistic. It does sound a little AI written.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if you go back to Katy Perry's older music, some of her songs were kind of simplistic and very cliche, which is something that I've noticed is a common critique online, is that the lyric content of the album is very cliche.
I don't necessarily mind that if the lyrics are delivered to me in a fun way.
Yeah, and, like, that's the thing where I think when the video came along for Woman's World, things really went off the rails a little bit because, let's be honest, the narrative of the song and the narrative of the video did not match.
No, and it was like, again, a bunch of men in a room coming up with the song and the video for women, and you're like,
I mean, I'm certain that Katy was involved in the creative process, but yeah, there was, like, a whole team of men behind her,
And
kind
one
of
of the
like
men-
pulling the strings a little bit.
yeah, and one of the men being Dr. Luke is just like,
I do want to take a moment just to not discredit the amount of work that Katy herself probably put into an album. Producing an album of any caliber, be it a 2-song EP or, like, a 16-song masterpiece, is not an easy feat.
no, I think our standards for music are just high because we've consumed so much of it over the years and can see the timeline of it and where it shifted based on what's happening in the world as well. I think because a lot of us are struggling right now, whether it be financially, whether it be work-wise, the state of the fucking world. Like, it's not that happy, like, 2010, let's go to the club and club bangers. Like, I don't feel that.
The recession pop is not popping.
The recession pop is not popping.
And that's the one thing I will say about the album overall, sonically speaking. Max Martin was involved, as was Dr. Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to, say, like, the Teenage Dream album or era, the production on this album feels flat.
So flat.
In the sense that, like, there's no maximalist qualities to it, which is a very Max Martin thing. So I'm confused on that front sonically. Like, I didn't fully understand that choice.
Like, in the Lights interview when we were talking about producing a song and all the layers that are involved in that. With this album, I was like, where are did you hide the layers by accident before exporting?
Yeah, and that's true. And honestly, she doesn't do a lot of her signatures as Katy Perryisms, right? Like,
no.
There's almost no camp quality to any of the songs. There's also not really a lot of theatricalness, which generally speaking was kind of her
That's
shtick.
her thing, yeah.
Um,
And she is getting older, so maybe she's like trying to step away from that, which is fine. And
I'm not gonna. No, that's not an argument we're gonna take right now.
great. Okay, good.
You wanna
I
know
wasn't
why?
really fully in it anyway. I just wanted to
Because
put that out there.
there are songs on this album that I feel don't fit her age group, don't fit the target audience, and absolutely just are regurgitations of what is popular right now.
And the ones like, hold your man, because I'm going to steal him. I'm like, girl.
Oof, we're about to dive into it. Let's
But
go.
before that, let's take a break.
Oh,
I have
God.
to pee.
Be right back. Bye. We're back.
We're back. Not for the first time.
No, we're back for the third time now. But we just finished talking about Woman's World. I think we kind of reached a consensus. We agree it's not the best track.
My professional and academic opinion.
I would honestly agree with you for this one. For this one, I didn't love it. I will say sonically, when it first came out, it was kind of giving me everything I wanted in terms of like a millennial recession pop bop. But after seeing the rest of the critiques and hearing other points of view, I definitely can agree it's not the greatest song.
She gave us nothing. A big steaming pile of nothing.
I literally have in my notes, it's not giving.
It's not.
It's not.
It's giving.
Right. So the next song, Woman's World was first, and the next song is called Gimme Gimme, featuring 21 Savage. I don't really know a lot of 21 Savage's previous or other music, or even his like original music. I will say though, I did not love the writing of his verse. Line in particular about Amazon really bothered me.
Oh my God, I was going to bring that up.
It really bothered me, yeah. And then another thing that also bothered me, and I heard this in another review by a creator named D'Angelo, the lyric that Katy says about crawling all over her like a centipede. It brought up visceral, uncomfortable visions and memories, and I didn't consent to that.
And it's not, I get it. She said it because it's like a rhyme, but she's saying it in a way that makes like crawling on you like a centipede. But it's like, girl, I don't want centipedes crawling on me. I think of those like house centipedes. You know the house centipedes that you get?
The really big ones.
Yeah, and they're so fucking fast. And they've got a million legs. Why? For whomst?
Yeah, no, not.
I wasn't into it. I really was not into it.
Here's the lyric for you, everybody. Say the right thing. Maybe you can be crawling on me like a centipede. You feel uncomfortable?
And so, like, just to do a visual demonstration, like this, or like,
I don't know if it's the last one. I feel like it's maybe closer to the first one, but
either way, ew.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Keep that to yourself.
Just to like further illustrate the lyrical genius of this song, the next line is, freaks only come out at night, trying to flex the techs, they all bark with no bite.
I actually don't mind that one.
Okay.
The freaks come out at night, kind of but the all barks, no bite. You got me.
The thing is that like, this song is very clearly, trying to be like a sexual anthem. Sexual anthem is what we'll say, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Right? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that, like, again, she is allowed as a woman and as an artist to discuss her sexuality and discuss topics around sex without feeling any form of shame or being shamed in any way.
Totally. And that's not new for her at all.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, we're here for that. We love it.
Yeah, like empowered. But then here's where the narrative and I start to like diverge a little bit, because the next song 3, is called Gorgeous, featuring Kim Petras,
who has been doing great collabs and great things.
She is another artist that works heavily with Dr. Luke.
No.
Yeah,
Guys, no.
yeah, unfortunately. So like her most recent albums, or I guess EPs, Slut Pop and Slut Pop Miami, were produced by him.
Ew, that just makes it more gross.
Yeah,
Like
so
that,
if you're
it
not
takes the fun out
familiar,
of it.
yeah, if you're not familiar, those two albums are like particularly explicit, and involve a large range of sexual topics across many different spectrums. And I personally think it's fucking great party music. Like I totally get the purpose of it.
Oh yeah, it
But
was like
then-
Brat before Brat, kind of, but
Kind of.
more sexual than
Certainly more
cocaine.
sexual, definitely more sexual and like not radio safe in any way.
Oh no.
Which like I kind of commend Kim for doing, but once you listen to it and realize that his name is on the bottom of every track for the most part, and it's just like the songs similarly to this album 143 are very simplistic, very cliche, and again, just simplistic is the word I would use for the lyrics, but because the
Lame.
content is so edgy and explicit, it kind of works, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like two contrasting things together. It hits you kind of hard because you're like, whoa, what is she talking about?
When it came to this song, Gorgeous, with Katy, I didn't like it. It's supposed to be like a sexy song about going out with your girls and stuff. The song opens with, all my girls look gorgeous. We coming out tonight, grab your man and hold him tight, tight. So she's kind of giving this impression that she's going out with her girls. We're all looking hot as shit, which like work, get it, right? But if you are also out at the club, you better hold on to your man because I'm going to come get him.
But she just said, wait, in the order of the album, is this the one where it was before it? It was like, he's mine, I love him forever and ever.
That's the next song.
Okay, all right.
So see, this is where we're diverting a little bit with the narrative for me. So we then move on to track number 4, I'm His, He's Mine, featuring Doechii, which I really like Doechii's part in this song.
Doechii's part, I think, was the most fun. Like 21 Savage's part felt like he did not want to be there. It felt like she was recording and she needed someone to do something else on the track because it was so boring, and he was in the studio beside her, and she was like, hey, could you come on this track? And he's like, oh, okay, I just got done mine, but yeah, I guess. Whereas Doechii sounded like she wanted to be there, and she was way more fun to listen to than
She
Katy
was giving.
Yeah.
She was giving us the energy.
Yeah.
She was giving us the attitude. It was like cute, sassy, slick in her delivery. Like I thought she did a really good job.
Her lines were cute.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And prior to this, I had never heard of her before.
Me neither.
So like the collab worked on her favor.
It
Good
did.
for her. But yeah, lyrically, this song and the narrative again. So I'm his boss. I'm that bitch. I'm every woman he knows exists. I'm his main. I'm his side. I'm every woman that's in his mind.
I'm every woman. It's all in me. I'm so sorry.
The chorus is I'm his, he's mine. And there's no real tells in this, but we were speaking about it earlier. I think the implied narrative here is that it's about the fact that she's married to Orlando Bloom, who is a very successful and very well-known actor. And I'm sure he has women thirsting over him all the fucking time online, which like makes sense. It's kind of the territory,
But
right?
is he even like active online?
I don't know, but she is.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like this song is her commenting on the fact that like they're married, they have a kid together. I feel like she's making a commentary on the fact that like people thirst over my man, but like we have a commitment. We're committed to each other. Like you can slide up in his DMs all you want. And like ultimately, I think there's a line where she's saying, I can see you flirting, why you overworking? I'm on him like a suntan. Go and get your own man. Thinking that we're over, but we're only getting closer. You're creeping in his DMs, but I'm sleeping in his sweatpants. And so, like, she's making it clear that they're in a dedicated, committed relationship, probably monogamous. And, like, girl, you can say or send whatever you want online. You're just a person behind a screen, ultimately, and it's not going to get between their relationship.
But it also feels so juvenile.
It feels juvenile.
It more just seems like, not insecure, but in that realm of like, you can't steal him. Even if you tried, you can't steal him. He's mine. And I'm like, okay, but this isn't, you're not 16. I'm not 16. Maybe this wasn't the target audience for that song. Like maybe I've been in my 7-year relationship that I'm like, you can try to steal him. Good luck.
Well, and
I don't know.
It feels also like it's kind of projecting that like hot girl imagery, that hot girl, like, I'm not worried about you kind of thing. Like that, like passive aggressive kind of like, you're nothing girl kind of energy. I don't think that's what she's trying to necessarily communicate with this song. But to me, the narrative centers around her relationship with her husband.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that.
So, but the thing is, we just got finished with Gimme Gimme. Gimme Gimme Kitty Kitty.
Walk on Me Like a Centipede.
Right? And then we also just got finished with Gorgeous, where like you're going out with all your hot girls and you're going to steal some other girl's man. But now you're telling us that you're in a committed, serious relationship. And you know what? You can try, but you're not going to steal him from me. What is happening?
So why?
Like, where are we going?
And there's also no, I mean, maybe we're reading too much into this, which is very possible.
We're 100% reading too much into it. But like, girl, if it's not clear from the art, then you have to read into it.
That's true. And at least with songs like Last Friday Night, there was a little bit of a story. Like, oh no, sorry, I'm getting that and Waking Up in Vegas confused.
Waking Up in Vegas, but I mean, Last Friday Night did have a story to it. There was the clear narrative that like, oh, something crazy happened last Friday night kind of a thing. And
whereas
we went out.
Whereas this is just like, okay.
Yeah, it does, other than like declaring her, I won't even say love, but commitment to her husband.
And his commitment. Ownership.
And his commitment to her as well.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
But again, we're not necessarily talking about like the love of it all. We're just talking about the fact that you guys are like committed. Which, okay, fine. And then we move on to Crush, which is track number 5, which is, again, very simplistic in its lyrics. But is it a crush? Making me blush. Here I go again, falling in love. Who are you falling in love with, Katie?
I thought you already were with...
You just made it clear you're with Orlando and you guys are good. So, like, who are you going out and falling in love with now? Now, don't get me wrong. It's entirely possible to be in a committed relationship with someone, meet someone, and be, like, infatuated or have, like, a little puppy crush on them or something. Right. But, like, is that something that happens frequently enough to you, Katie, that you decided to write a song about it right after the song about your husband and your commitment?
Well, and once again, it feels juvenile. It's like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna write an album, and the songs that I want to write about that speak to me after the years of break that I've had are talking about getting a man, having a man, stealing your man, and crushing on other, maybe not men, people.
Right. So like,
I'm like, I don't relate to that anymore.
I don't relate to it anymore. And because I'm of the opinion that this album was designed for millennials, it doesn't seem to have a space. Like, it doesn't feel like it fits.
No.
Right? Because having a crush is something that universally all human people, I would assume, can at least empathize with or understand. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, everybody's had a little crush on someone before.
A crush is just a lack of information.
A lack of information and a poor guidance of judgment. He's just tall and has a beard. Calm down.
He's just tall. Is he hot or is he just tall?
Right.
Is he hot or is he just tall and has tattoos?
So this song feels like it was almost designed to kind of appeal to that, again, Kim Petras, that pop kind of simplistic but fun party music. And, you know, Katie, we know that, like, you just finished your residency for the past, 5 or 6 years in Vegas. Like, yeah, Vegas is a party, but, like, you were doing shows, 6 nights a week, girl. Like, you weren't partying.
And also, it's fun, but it feels like...
forced.
Corporate fun.
Oh, my God, corporate fun.
It feels very corporate fun, where it's like, the thing you want and you actually want to do, you have to dull it down and dilute it. And then that's what you get.
This leads me on a side tangent that I'm just going to go on real quick.
Do it.
Yeah. Take it from me. You don't want to go out with colleagues or your colleagues' friends because you could accidentally make out with them and then not remember. And then your boss could bring it up and you don't remember.
Oh.
But he does.
Oh.
So
Not speaking from personal experience.
no, I'm just saying that sometimes things can happen, and it's best to just not be.
It's just best to not remember.
Don't put yourself in a compromising position with the people that you have to see on a regular basis every day at work.
Moral of the story.
That's the lesson I learned, and I'm now passing it on to you. You're welcome. So after Crush comes Lifetimes, and I think this is track number 6. So this is about just after the midway point.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel like this half of the album is different and is better than this first half of the album, in my opinion. So we moved to Lifetimes, which was the second single from the album, was promoted pretty heavily. All of You for Lifetimes kind of a thing. It's obviously like a declaration of love, perhaps to her husband, perhaps to her daughter, perhaps to a family or a friend. Doesn't really like specify. But it's evident that she's speaking on someone she cares deeply about.
Right.
Which, like, love the message. Sure, it's simplistic, but in my opinion, it delivers what it meant to do. So I would say this song's a success, in my opinion. How do you feel about it?
I didn't feel here nor there about it, really.
It's just meh.
Just meh. Like, I found a lot of the songs had the same BPM on this album. So
There was a lot of same, a lot of repetition.
I just kind of tuned out because it just all felt the same to me.
Mm-hmm. I get that. But track number 7, All the Love, this is my personal favorite from the album. I don't know what it is. There's like a quality about it that feels inspirational in a way. I think it's because knowing Katy's personal history from being a celebrity, we obviously know that her relationship with Russell Brand was extremely difficult for her, and it was messy.
Yeah.
It was messy, right?
Yeah, she wrote about it a bunch as well.
Yeah, and so to me, this is kind of like her realization that like the love that she kind of lost giving to Russell, giving to other people who it didn't work out with, giving to fans, giving to colleagues, things like that, kind of has come back to her. And I believe this song is really supposed to be a commentary on their established relationship with Orlando and their daughter, and just how having a child can really like bring that joy that you felt that you had lost back into your life.
Can't relate.
Can't relate at all in that
Won't
sense.
relate, but
at the same,
good on ya.
I was also able to like put myself empathetically in her position, and I can understand because like we can both speak that love is difficult and it can sometimes really fucking hurt. We've both been through things in the past. We can talk about that another day. But having that reassurance and reaffirmation of like, not everybody is going to treat you like shit.
Yeah. Well, and
right?
you also like it for another reason, if I remember correctly.
I do. So I couldn't put my finger on it for the longest time. I couldn't put my finger on like why I'm really connecting with this song. I really like it compared to the other ones, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then I realized it sounds awfully familiar to another song by a different artist that I really like as well, and an old song at that from like 2012. So I went looking. The song that the very intro, Little Twinkles, it's pretty much the exact same to an Owl City song called Deer in the Headlights.
Ew.
And so I looked it up. They're the exact same fucking key, which is D, which is not surprising. Like, that's a normal key for most pop music. It's like a fun key, major chords kind of thing.
Love D.
Love D. But the BPM were only 10 off of each other. And when I like synced it up, it's the exact same. Now, I'm not alleging that they stole this song or anything like that.
There's only so many chords, and
it's just like a little twinkle in the intro or whatever that sounds the same. The rest of the song, sonically, it's not the same at all. But at the same time, that's the connection I made to it. And I was like, so there. We'll play a little snippet of the intro of Katy's song here. And then I'll play the intro of the Owl City song here. Are they not the same?
they sounded identical to me.
They're the same fucking song in that very brief moment. They're the same. Regardless, I really like All of the Love. I think that it's I won't say it's the best written song on the album by any means. It's still quite simplistic and repetitive. But for me, it spoke to me on like an emotional level that worked for me. I can understand, though, if not everybody is like in that mindset or in that headspace to be able to like do that in that time and in that moment. So what, you weren't a fan?
No. I mean, I just didn't feel connected to it. Like, I've been through experiences and I can relate to those kinds of things, but this whole album to me just felt like a flop. And so I just don't think there's any coming back from that.
You see no redeeming qualities?
Not really. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's bad because like, you can like what you can like and it's fine. I just didn't like it.
And that's okay. That's totally
It's just
fine.
like I said, like hearing it compared to Chappell Roan, Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, like the pop Powerpuff Girls, basically, it just doesn't hold up. It's not fun. It's boring. It's predictable. It's giving, I needed more money because my last album maybe didn't do as well as I thought it was going to do.
I think that's a big reason why she was working with Dr. Luke again.
To try and like reignite that magic, but the magic was the thing that was missing. It's
Yeah.
just not, it's not it.
I feel like a lot of the music feels a little bit hollow.
Totally.
In the sense that like the few songs we've been able to kind of piece a narrative together, but that's doing a lot of background research and knowledge and just like kind of putting it into our own context.
It's like she tried to make these songs relatable to a large group of people.
Yes.
But then
mass media. This is definitely a mass media
it's a mass
thing.
media, but then it still doesn't feel
It didn't deliver.
finished. Like it didn't deliver.
It didn't deliver. The next song, Nirvana. This one, I feel like neither here nor there about it. I don't have strong feelings about it, as in that it's good or bad. I think, again, in the narrative perspective of the album as a whole, this song belongs in the first half of the album. It's about partying, dancing in the blurry lights, found you in paradise, floating in the
Higher
diamond
than
sky.
high. The amount of times that she references a high.
You make me feel so high. Keep it up, I'm getting close, about to hit kaleidoscope.
Okay.
I think this is a song about drugs.
Do you think?
I
Nirvana?
think so.
Yeah.
Right? So anyways, it's fine, whatever. Next one, Artificial. I think this song is really interesting.
I think she tried to redo E.T. poorly.
It's giving E.T. vibes 100%.
Okay.
I think it's current. It's a song about AI. It's very clearly about AI. And it seems as though her perspective is that AI is potentially dangerous or like evil. You know, the song opens with, who's going to save us from losing our minds? Oh, you're so dangerous, devil in disguise. So it sounds like she's trying to make a commentary on the fact that like these AI tools have become so commonplace now, and so they've accelerated so quickly, but people are kind of embracing them because they allow us to do things we previously couldn't do or do as easily. But at the same time, maybe there's like a darker side to this AI and like it's dangerous. And I think it's a common opinion for a lot of people in the arts, including the two of us.
Yeah.
That like AI, especially generative AI in terms of like imagery and stuff like that, is damaging to artists and their ability to earn income.
Well, even voice stuff too.
Yeah, like it's in all facets of art. It's in music. It's in photography,
the background.
acting.
They'll just take your thing and use you in
taking like, your likeness
likeness
and everything. Yeah, and so I think we can all come to a common consensus that like AI is not all it's chalked out to be in terms of like a revolution for humanity. And it does take away from the human experience a little bit. And I feel like that's something that over the years moving forward, we're going to have to like get a handle on. You know what I mean?
It's really funny to me that this is the angle that she's coming at when her album sounds like it was made by AI.
Right. And that's like, again, that's a common critique that
Yeah.
is appearing online, is that like, this just sounds AI written kind of a thing. Now, you know, Artificial, I really liked. So this is featuring Jid, is the rapper. I really, really liked his verse.
Yeah.
It was quick. It was well written. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm trapped in a maze. Are we lost in the matrix? Animalistic instincts. It's all nature. Behind enemy lines of animation scribbled upon a page, we stuck in a simulation. So like it's on theme, on point, and it's like quick. It's
Yeah,
slick.
his delivery was good too.
It's slick, yeah. I thought this song was interesting. I thought it had a narrative and a perspective, and the feature really added to it. Kind of similar vein as the Doechii song. Like I felt she really, really brought that song up.
Yeah.
And I feel like he really elevated the song as well. So like, shout out to the features on 143, honestly.
The features are doing all of the heavy lifting for this album.
And this is a rapper that I had not heard of previously.
Me neither.
So
yeah.
like, it worked out for him as much as it worked out for Doechii, which I love. Then track number 10 is Truth. This song is, again, quite simplistic. It's very repetitive. She sings, I want to know the truth even if it hurts me. I've got a vision keeping me up at night. My intuition's telling me things ain't right. Can't look in the mirror. Oh God,
it just reminds me of my fucking journal.
It's your journal entry.
It's my journal entries. If you haven't listened to that episode, do that because it's chuckle-worthy. But it's very that. It's very Kip.
It's very cliche.
Yes.
And I think the reason that they leaned on the cliches a lot is because A, Katy Perry kind of does cliches. Like that's her thing, right?
But where's the camp?
There is
fun?
no camp quality to this, which I do agree is like ruins it because I was expecting a little bit of camp.
Where's
from
the silly
her.
goosery?
Don't take yourself so damn seriously, right? And that was something that she's always excelled at. So I was kind of surprised there was no camp element really. But then she tried to claim there was a camp element by saying like that woman's world was satire, and we're all sitting here being like, sure, girl.
If it's satire, you shouldn't have to tell me it's satire.
Sure, Jan.
Sure, Jan.
But anyways, yeah, Truth. I like the song. It's pretty simplistic, but like she's, you know, wanting to be told the truth, regardless of whether or not it like hurts her feelings, is kind of what she's saying. I do feel like perhaps she didn't think this one through because I feel like she's probably not loving all the opinions she's hearing about her new album. But like she told us she wanted to hear the truth. So here you go, girl.
Here's the truth.
Okay, so yeah, the final song on the album is called Wonder. And we spoke about it earlier and you said you actually liked it.
Yeah, I honestly thought it should have been first.
I don't know if I agree with you on whether it should have been first. I feel like it's a really nice way of ending the album. I feel like it's a really, really sentimental and emotionally charged way of kind of like wrapping things up. In terms of the narrative across the album, I don't think it adds to the narrative really in any way.
It threw me for a loop when I first heard it. I was like, who is this?
Yeah,
what
like,
is happening?
I think I said this earlier, but like some of the criticisms I saw online were that like children singing in any aspect
terrifying
is creepy.
So scary.
I'm also not about to say here and critique the singing capability of a child. She sounds like a little girl and she also doesn't sound bad. So on that front, you achieved what you were trying to do, girl. So I think that the song is successful, but I don't think in terms of the overall album as a whole, it really like adds to it or fits in it very well.
It felt like it should have been on a different album.
It was very Prism coded.
Yes.
Very Prism coded. So was All of the Love, in my opinion. It was very Prism-esque. But yeah, I feel like that's the track list breakdown of 143. We really went into it today. There's one last thing I kind of wanted to talk about and want to touch on. So like I mentioned earlier, in a lot of the online critiques that I watched, a common thread that they all had was that the lyrics are very cliche, which we've addressed a few times now.
Yes.
But I decided, you know, like I got thinking about it and like, what's another genre of music that is generally known for being cliche? Emo music, right?
Has a tendency, yes.
Has a tendency, but that's generally because it's written by young people who are going through experiences for the first time in their life and are obviously like hormonal or emotional.
Heartbreak.
Right.
Introspection.
So there's a lot of feelings.
All
involved.
The feelings.
But I think cliches are easy to relate to because everybody's kind of heard of them before.
It's universal.
It's something you can easily relate to, which as we know, the whole ethos around emo music when it first really like launched from the hardcore world. So we know that like they were craving that emotional connection, that emotional depth to a lot of the music. So I don't necessarily think that a lot of these songs on 143 have emotional depth. Perhaps a few of them.
Depth of a spoon, perhaps.
Perhaps. But I decided to take the lyrics from a couple of Katy's songs and turn them into like emo pop tracks. I started off with Crush because to me it was very simplistic in its lyrical content, and I turned it into this.
Here I go again, I'm falling in love. My heart goes la da da dee, la da dee, la da da dee. My heart goes la.
And then I also did All the Love and turned it into this.
I had nothing less, but you came along and all the love that I ever lost came back to me. All the love that I ever lost back to me. I was frozen.
And then finally I ended off with Truth, and it sounds like this.
I know the truth, even if it hurts me. I wanna know the truth, even if it hurts me. I got a vision, keeping me up at night.
So I think they're like not half bad.
They're better than the original, to be honest.
But-
Which feels like a traitor thing to say.
It
But-
does a little.
Yeah. But it works.
It surprisingly works, and it's all just like a shift in presentation and musical tone, obviously. But like I'm surprised that they worked as well as they did. But it brings up a question for you.
Okay.
And I want to get your opinion, but a question also for you, the viewers. If you want to hear the full songs, they are available on my YouTube channel, so you can check them out. But after listening to those, maybe you've kind of had a similar feeling that we did, like, oh, they're really not that half bad.
Mm-hmm.
It brings up the question of, are the songs poorly written, or are they just executed badly?
Yes.
So yes to both. Okay.
Yes to both. Yeah.
But honest question for you guys listening, like, is it one of those things where, even if you're not a Katy Perry fan, after listening to the few clips that we presented here of the songs kind of reimagined, could you not see that being on some emo pop album somewhere?
I wouldn't say emo, but definitely pop punk. That's like the pop punk. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, we're not going to give the album a rating. Overall, would I say the album is successful? Unfortunately, no.
I would agree with that. I don't think it's as successful. The expectation that I have with a Katy Perry album based off of her other albums is just so high.
Oh, 100%.
The standard that she set for herself is high, and I don't even think that she met this standard. I don't know if that was intentionally, if she's trying to maybe draw back from the campiness, but to me, her brand is missing. That album could have been done by anyone.
I feel you on that. And you know what? It could have been done from one of the recent pop girlies, like you just mentioned, like Sabrina. And it would have just like generic pop music, which I want to say, there is a place in the world for generic pop music.
Absolutely.
100%. But
Time and place.
I think given all the backlash around the controversy with the Dr. Luke scandal and whatnot, as well as the poor execution of both the Women's World release and video, really set the album up for not success.
Yeah.
And, I want to give Katy grace in the sense that, like, we're artists. We understand that, like, sometimes you take on a project and you really put your whole everything into it, and it just doesn't work. I feel like this album should have been the one that was released of 143. This was an iteration that should have stayed on the computer hard drive
For real.
and continued to be worked on for a little more. It doesn't feel like it's finished cooking.
It doesn't. Premature.
The
Yeah.
chicken is pink, Katy. Like, you're trying to poison us.
Put it back in the oven.
I love you, and I do support you. And you know what? I'm going to let you know something right now if you're watching this.
Katie, if you're watching.
If you're watching this, Katie, if you release a fucking banger of a remix album that does not involve Dr. Luke in any way, I think you might be able to redeem yourself.
This album is set up in a way that would invite remixes, and particularly good
100%.
ones. It's simple enough that people can add their own elements and touch to it to really make it better.
We just need to go down and ask Deadmau5 to do it.
He wouldn't do
He
it. Are
wouldn't.
you kidding?
He might do it the money.
He doesn't need the money.
He doesn't need the money, but to work
And
with
also
someone
to
as
work
big
with
as Katie,
He doesn't need to, though. He's Deadmau5.
that's actually really true. But the thing is he would probably make a fucking really good remix album.
Yeah, like screw Dr. Luke. Bring in Joel.
Bring in Joel. It's going to be good.
And with that...
And that was our thoughts on 143. Oh, also, you know what 143 is, right?
An angel number or something?
It's I love you in touch tone.
Oh.
So you know how you were talking about how you have to press all the buttons?
Yeah.
It's 143 is I
L.
L U.
Oh. Why did she just name it ILU?
Because in the 80s and 90s, when like cell phones were like just kind of first really getting popular and texting a long message was hard, you would just send 143 to say like I love you.
Right, but like why not just name it ILU?
Because the thing was that you sent 143.
I just don't get how it connects to the album at all. But
Agreed.
yeah, it feels, again, put it back in the oven.
Yeah, it needs to go back in the oven. Work with some good producers. Find someone Swedish or something. Don't get me
No.
wrong. I know you stan.
I stan Avicii so much. Don't get me started.
There was
'cause I
a
won't
poster.
stop.
There was a wall size poster. He was larger than real life.
My bedroom.
In her bedroom at one point.
I stole it after a music festival.
I remember that. I wasn't with you, but I remember coming to your house after
It
and
was
being like,
so...
what the fuck is this?
It was an advertisement. This will be the last thing, by the way. It was an advertisement of Avicii's concert coming up, and it was the end of a music festival. So in my brain, I was like, well, they're just going to throw this out. So why don't I
Just take it.
just take it for myself? And I did. And it was large.
It was a very large. Do you still have it?
No, I threw it out. Which is, I know. But it was so large. What was I going to do with it? It spanned
Straight up
most
canceled.
of my wall.
It was the size of an entire wall.
Yeah, I'm
shit
not
you
even kidding. It was ridiculously large.
It was much. Love Avicii, rest in peace. In another dimension, life, timeline, perhaps Katie could have reached out to him to fix this album. But we are not in that timeline.
We are not in that timeline. We are in this timeline. And in this timeline, I think it is time we bid adieu.
Yes. Don't forget to check out our video episodes on YouTube and on Spotify. And thank you so much for listening. We have really enjoyed doing this over the past little while, and I feel like we're going to continue.
We just might.
We just
Hope
might.
you stick around for that.
All right. Well, this was our first album review. Perhaps there'll be more in the future, but until then, see you next time.
Bye.